Hey everybody, it's time for Off the Ledge. This is our daily spiritual check-in to keep us aligned and centered in the face of chaos. But when we fight, we win. It's a lovely day in Massachusetts. The wind finally died down. I was just listening to a House committee, a Democratic committee hearing on the cuts to the VA and the veterans and the services to veterans. And in the face of all this, when you kind of step back and wonder why a president, so-called president, would want to not acknowledge our veterans and have respect for our military, that's like a total sign that he's the enemy. And I might be stating the most obvious thing, but I think we have to think about that sometimes. It's like, why would somebody in a position of leadership like that put down our veterans and discourage our veterans? Because our military protects us. So he doesn't want us to be protected. Some of this stuff is so basic. Sometimes we kind of forget. Let's start with don't worry, we'll make sure that he's out of there. Ernest Holmes today has some wisdom thoughts, and they start with, in the divine we live and move and have our being. In the divine we live and move and have our being. I hope you're enjoying these daily readings. At the start of 2025, I wanted to read these every day, and it's become much more like I'm sticking to it more and not forgetting because I'm doing these videos. So I hope they're helpful. Life is activity, and when we stop being active, we turn away from the newness of life. And the person who grows old in years without an inward expectation and assurance that he's going to live forever somewhere will find the last part of his life burdened with the thoughts of yesterday. Let us make up our minds that yesterday is gone. Tomorrow has not yet arrived. But today can be filled with wonder if we know what we stand on, if we know that we stand on the threshold of that which is wonderful and new. I have never yet met a single individual who maintained this attitude in the last part of his life unless he had faith. And I'm talking about the kind of faith we all understand the meaning of. Faith in something bigger than ourselves, in a power greater than ourselves, and a complete assurance that we are going to live forever somewhere. It is an interesting fact that whether we know it and whether or not we like it, our lives are so tied in with God, the living Spirit, that we cannot remain young and enthusiastic unless we know that we are one with that which knows no age and no burdens. And so it is. This brings to mind this reading a couple weeks ago when I was marveling at how pessimistic I've observed some people to be in the face of what we're facing, which is natural. I mean, it's natural for us to be doubtful and to be let down and disappointed. That's natural. I made the observation, however, at the same time, that it seemed like if people had a faith in a higher power, they were having an easier time coping. And I made that observation, and I got a little pushback on that, but I was just making that point that faith in a higher power makes things go better and feel a little easier. When we really do have faith, it makes us, and whatever you believe in for the higher intelligence power, if we know we can stand firm on that, we have an easier time. It's easier to navigate through life. That's what I meant by that. I wasn't saying this somebody's less spiritual. I guess I was saying people that lean pessimistic tend to think of themselves as not very, as not spiritual beings. I don't know. I'm just saying. Have faith in the higher power, because it's getting us through. There's a lot of miracles happening right now that we just don't even pay attention to. So let's listen to Kathy Bale's astrology for today. Today the moon seems to be in Libra. It seems to be because it's so far away from me. Okay, so let's listen to Kathy Bale.
This is Kathy Bale of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro Insight for April 10th, 2025. Same weird mix today as we had yesterday. And as we get into the evening, the desire to just float on things is going to win out. So let your brain chew on what it wants to. Try to make sense of things, but know that they really don't make sense just yet. And go really, really easy on yourself. This evening, it's best made for activities that you're going to have to do again anyway, like laundry and cleaning things up, and for just kicking back and not pushing. That's all for now.
All right, so the moon is actually, it's going into Libra, yeah, okay. From Scorpio to Libra. To reach Kathy, go to empowermentunlimited.net. She's got lots of great videos also on @Professional Aquarian. Let's pull some cards. I hope everybody's finding a way to keep an even keel. Keep an even keel. Keep steering the ship through the rocky seas until we get to safer shores. Alright, I'm going to choose 3 cards to guide us through the day. Just a reminder, members get classes as part of your membership, so make sure you check out 40 Days to Releasing Religious Guilt, because it's really transformative. You will transform if you listen to that. It's a daily program, and the last day is on Sunday. The last day of the 40 days. So what we're looking at right now is a lot of mental conflict. We don't know what to think, right? In a way, that's an opportunity for a breakthrough. When we can't count on the old ways, like Ernest Holmes is kind of referencing, looking at the past as not really being, helpful. Looking towards the future as not really being as helpful as looking at what's going on right now. So how we are right now sets the trajectory for how things go moving forward. We don't want a criminal in the White House, and we have an overt convicted felon, criminal, con, stealer, murderous energy, not a patriot, not for America, enemy of America. We have that in our White House. So it's the antithesis of what we should have. And this is creating all of it, just all of it. It's so big. Excuse me, that made me jump. City living. All of us say, it's like, we don't know what's going to come at us next. All of us are going through this mental conflict. The universe is going to, the universe is a self-correcting system. And the universal truth is what's going to become very, very present. So the guidance in this reading here is similar to what I was saying, is if we know what we want and we put our faith in the universal power, which is the only truth, then the mental conflict will kind of wane. It will lessen. When we know where we stand in our lives personally and in the collective, like in the collective America, when we know where we stand on our truth. Everything in the United States Constitution, pretty much all of it, was written with the idea in mind and the ideal in mind of never having tyranny in the United States of America. And so the Supreme Court became very, very corrupt and started throwing out the Constitution bit by bit. And it really went into a huge downward spiral with Citizens United. But let's know that the truth is what's going to come forward The universe is going to reveal the truth. And the way out of the mental conflict is to stay standing powerful in that truth. And on my little walk today, this morning, I really got strongly that we've reached a tipping point as far as Americans who are against what's going on with this criminal administration. We've reached a tipping point. In other words, we've reached a critical mass of people that can energetically and in actuality just push this whole thing, this whole criminal administration, push them out. And I had an image too of, and I couldn't figure out who it was, but we'll get into that at PNN tomorrow night. I had an image of Dumpy being pushed aside, and I was having a hard time figuring out who was pushing him aside, but we'll look into that a little bit more later. So I know it's challenging, and it's also an opportunity with anything that's super, super challenging in life, for us to look inside and to ask us if we need to, and if it will be helpful to work on our faith. And one way that I know to do that is to look at the things in your life and in general that look like they would never come back or recover or anything, and then by the grace of the higher power they did. Things righted themselves. I think about 9/11. It's amazing that New York City rebuilt the way that it did after 9/11. I think of Hurricane Katrina. It's amazing, after all that devastation, that New Orleans is even, there, right, anymore. World War II, for that matter, So think about situations and circumstances. Like Ernest Holmes is constantly reminding us that God is all there is. So think about circumstances, and this is a great exercise to do, to just write down, wow, remember how bad it was and we thought we'd never come out of that? January 6, 2021, we remained a democracy after that. And let's not forget, we are still a democracy. And we've got to double down and use all the tools in the toolbox to get this enemy administration that works for Vladimir Putin ousted. They need to go. So let's really make an effort to pull ourselves out of the thinking that they're never going to go and that we're powerless. Nothing could be worse to think. Okay. We are the power. The people have the power. We're rising up. And when we fight, we win. All right, so have a beautiful day, and I'll catch you later on. I'm planning to be here to do the guided meditation for Healed America at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So join us for that. That might be an abbreviated session. It might just be 15 or 20 minutes because I'm going to go to a music show tonight. All right, namaste. Bye.